Hello, this is Zachary May, and this is my final project for Business 101 for the music director through Vandercook College. Um, this is my strategic plan for the coming school year, the following categories. First, we have marketing and awareness, then we have fundraising, finances and budget for my program, human resources and volunteer needs, facility and asset management, and finally a summary of the thing that I've found most useful from this course to take to my program for the coming year. When it comes to marketing and awareness for my orchestra program, the following quote seemed particularly useful to me. Seth Godin said, "People only buy from you for two reasons, awareness and trust. They need to know you exist and they need to trust you." Now, I'm not selling anything with my program, but my students can benefit from quality marketing because it will lead to fundraising that will allow new opportunities for them, and it will bolster support for the program from the students themselves and from their families that will add to the educational value of what we're able to offer as an orchestra program. We're going to be able to build awareness and trust in a few key ways using marketing strategies. First of all, beginning with awareness, there are a few things that I hope to accomplish in the coming year. Awareness, first of all, is important with elementary students. They're the future of our program, and as the high school orchestra director, that's where my program's success begins, because if more students sign up in elementary school, we'll have a stronger educational climate and be able to positively impact more students because there will be more of them involved. So over the course of this year, I want to outreach to elementary students by having student volunteers from the high school go to tutor them on NISMA solos, by bringing the mariachi, honors ensemble, and jazz combo from the high school, our extracurricular groups, to at least 3 of the 5 elementary schools, if not all of them, as we're able to over the course of this year, with a couple days that will just be field trip days where we take those groups around to perform for young students, and to make each one of those performances interactive so students in the audience have a chance to not only hear the music that we're playing, but get to know the high school students a little bit, get their hands on some instruments, and our doing that will support what the 3rd grade teachers and the elementary music teachers already do to recruit for the program. Second in awareness are our community performances with the extracurricular ensembles, particularly our mariachi band, because it's the only mariachi in public high school in New York State. It's a really strong selling point for our program, and so we're going to give as many performances as we comfortably can within our schedules for this school year, and we're going to take the opportunities of those community performances to make mention of upcoming events, and to be professional, show up, and be a public face for what's happening inside the school in various venues, which include our local Barnes & Noble store, several nursing homes in the area, some local businesses and corporations that have us do events. So those performances will support our awareness campaign. Next, we'll give invitations to concerts to our own school faculty, staff, and administration. We'll do those by having students choose a teacher from the list and handwrite one invitation each, and then go and put them in mailboxes. The idea here is that if teachers and administrators are at our concerts, they're aware of what we're doing, and because they're already so involved in the school in other ways, they're going to spread the message about what we're doing amongst each other and be another link to parents. Our branding, our website and t-shirts and fundraising items, I'm going to work with my student volunteer leadership team to create one logo and one motto that really create a core message about what we value and what we do, And then we're going to keep that brand consistent from our program website to our t-shirts and our fundraising items. And then lastly, we'll post updates to the high school as a whole and to the whole school district when new things happen. The district as a whole gets a lot of traffic. Those are the outlets, and so when we as a music program are represented on those sites, it does a lot to create the awareness we're looking for. Next, we have trust, the other side of the Seth Godin quote. And we build trust by just maintaining points of contact and maintaining lines of communication. So I'll have regular e-blasts that go out to the students and the parents in the program, as well as parents of former students who have opted in, alumni who have opted in, and school board administration members, others who have interest in receiving regular updates from us, as well as donors and sponsors who've contributed to the program so that they get updates as well as thank yous. Also, along the lines of building trust, giving consistent high-quality performances is probably the thing we've been doing the longest, because that reflects the quality of the learning that the students are having in the program. Connecting with alumni is important. We are very lucky at White Plains High School to have had orchestras in the school ever since 1915, for over 100 years. And that means that there are a lot of alumni out there who've passed through our program and have had a positive impact. So beginning to find those people through networks of contacts will help us with some of our other goals as well. But even just building on the trust that those years of input educationally have developed. So that's something we want to do. Video testimonials for the website. As we saw in the example from the Merit School of Music website, we want to create a couple of well-produced, short, personal narrative videos so that when someone lands on our page, they can trust us because they can see what impact the music program has had in the lives of a few specific students. And they can trust us because we want to make sure that those testimonials as well reflect the diversity in our program, and so that anyone landing on our site sees themselves reflected in our materials in some way and knows that there's a place for them in our program and in our community. And then finally, recognizing our donors, those who help us out with fundraising publicly and privately, just goes to reinforce the positive lines of communication that we have when people donate to our program. So those are all our steps for improving our marketing and creating a tight web of contacts. All right, for the next category, our fundraising. For this coming year, the goals that we have are to reduce student costs for our trip to Montreal in April. That is not a set number. That's sort of the more we raise, the better, because it will all be a lump sum that goes to defray the student cost. Next, we want to invite 2 guest artists to come and work with all groups, so that's $1,000 total. Pizza for leader meetings and refreshments for parent events. Just having a snack budget is important as it helps us with outreach. So we'll budget $1,000 for that. And then with the extracurricular groups, they fundraise separately. Those first 3 items go into our student activity account for the band and orchestra program. For the extracurricular groups, they each have their own account. So that's our jazz band and our mariachi. And they, with some of the same fundraising ideas, the mariachi will be saving for a harp, and jazz band will be saving for an amp and some band front music stands. And so for any fundraising ideas where an extracurricular and an orchestra overlap, if it's something they have in common, then they'll just be able to split the proceeds into those 2 categories of savings. And then the ways we want to accomplish that. So first of all, we're going to do a bake sale at every concert. That's something that we have done for several years and is already in place. We want to make sure we continue that because it does provide a reliable source of small amounts of income, but consistently throughout the year. So it usually adds up to about $500 altogether. New this year, we want to make a calendar, a fundraising calendar, using high quality photos of students' dogs. This is something that students are really excited about. And I think that because no other clubs in town are doing anything like this, we can have some good success selling these right away. They'll be new, they'll be novel. We can defray the upfront printing costs by having sponsors on every page, and then all of the proceeds that we can bring in will go directly towards those goals that I said before. Also, a sampler CD of our extracurricular groups. We can use all public domain sources, but create a CD, a high quality recorded CD of our mariachi band, of our jazz combo, and of the honor string ensemble. And this is something I think families, parents of students, and also extended family, and some administration, some others within the school community will be eager to purchase. And because we can do all of the recording and production ourselves, we can keep that having high margins to bring in for our fundraising. Public performances are something that we already do when a corporation in our town or a company in our town has a group come and do a performance. Sometimes there is a performance fee involved, and that's a very good way to earn cash that goes straight into the students' accounts. And so reaching out to more businesses to try and bring in more of those performances will be very valuable. And then pay what you can option. For some things that are student funded, we offer the option of them spending a little bit more to help another student. That is sort of an easy way to bring in a few extra dollars and to make our system more equitable. And then lastly, just to reach out and request donations once a year to our alumni and parent network. Here's the table with our finances. This total of $3,100 is our operating budget for the orchestra program. That's been consistent for several years. The breakdown here is pretty straightforward. Instruments and accessories. Students need working instruments, and we provide them for any student who needs one. So that adds up to $1,800. $300 of office supplies, $600 of music, $400 for adjustable bass stools. That it will be a one-year expenditure for us this year. And then lastly, as I said, for the pay what you can option, we want every student to have an orchestra t-shirt this year. That is only $10. Most students will be able to afford that. And if you can't, we'll also just be asking anyone who's interested in giving 20 instead of 10 to do so, with the hopes of also making it possible for some students to have them for free if they need them. And then the rest of these items go back to the fundraising section we already discussed. The volunteering needs that we have for the program are the student leadership team, which we already voted on, and I've already trained them this past spring. But it's a group of about 8 students that do a lot of work on behalf of their fellow students with me. Other student volunteers are needed just for occasional, once a year, twice a year, things that come up where we host other schools and things like that. And then parents we use most often with helping out at bake sales, and then when we have guest artists come in, we often need parents to help with serving lunch. Training for them happens at the end of the previous school year for the student volunteers, and then for parents, training just needs to happen about 15 minutes before an activity begins. Thank yous and recognitions need to be public at our concerts, and then also, as I mentioned earlier, through private thank you letters. Facilities, we have the rehearsal room, practice areas, and a stage for our performances. And in terms of managing these spaces, I want to book them all, our rehearsal schedules before the beginning of the school year, involve the student leaders in organizing and cleaning the rooms, and lastly, just strictly enforce access policies to make sure that only those students who are actively using our spaces to practice are using them, that they are locked at all times when they're not in use, and that they remain clean and don't have food in them.